Hello everyone, welcome to JavaScript for beginners. This is the second lesson, code structure and syntax. Now, these are what we cover in the lesson. We look at statements, comments, variables, data types, and operators. Now, all these parts fall under syntax. Syntax is basically the English language of programming. Syntax are rules which programmers follow to write quality code without running into errors. Now, what are statements? Statements are collections of commands that performs actions in JavaScript. So you can view statements as sentences in JavaScript. So now let's take a look at this example. So let's look at an example of a statement. So I can type console.log hello world. Now when I run this, you see hello world in the console. So that is the function of console.log to display messages in the console log. We can write series of statements on the same line and separate them by semicolon. We can also write statements on separate lines for better readability. Now let's look at expressions. An expression is any valid unit of code that resolves to a value. So let's take a look at this example. We have 5 plus 10, which becomes 15. And we have this string operation, we have hello and world. So we combine them to become hello world. And we have this logic expression, age is greater than 18. So it could become true or false. So let's look at the difference between expression and statement. So while an expression produces a value, such as 1 plus 1, which is 2, statements execute action. So with the example that we looked at, console.log, its function is to display messages in the console log. Comments are simply defined as a type of code which are ignored by the JavaScript interpreter. So we have single line comments and multi-line comments. You can write single line comments by introducing double / and multi-line comments by / and an asterisk in the beginning and the end of the comments. For statements, we separate them using semicolons. Now, it is not required that you use semicolons in your code. It is recommended since it produces consistency. Let's look at variables. Variables are containers which store data in our code. Now, how can we create a variable? We need to declare variables. Declaring a variable simply means we are creating a storage location in our system memory. The first one is let. So this is for creating variables in which we can update its value later in the code. The second one is const. So these are constants, or we are creating variables for which we cannot update its value in the code. Var is an older way of declaring variables, but we are not going to use it throughout the code. So let's look at the let keyword. Let is one way of creating variables. So let's look at an example in our compiler. So let's declare a variable using let. So we say let message, and we will initialize our variable with a value. So we say message is equal to hello world. So when we initialize a variable, it means that we provide a value to the variable. So in this case, we type hello world, which is stored in the message variable. Now let's display the value of the message variable in our console. So we say console.log message, and now it displays the value inside the message variable, which is hello world. So now let's update our variable message. So we can type message is equal to goodbye, and let's run console log message. Now we have two values, the first one being hello world, and the second one is an updated value on the message variable, which is goodbye. So let's look at const. This is another way to declare a variable, but with a const we cannot update the value once we have initialized it. So in an example here, we say const tax equals 0.5. So now we can display the value of tax, which will be 0.5, and we cannot update the variable tax again because we use const to declare it. Let's look at some variable naming conventions. The first one is, anytime you create variable, you must be descriptive and then use the appropriate names for variables. So here, instead of saying let x be 25, which here implies an age, we can say let age equals 25. Spaces are not allowed in variable names. And for the last part, we can use camel case for multiple words. So this is an example, let is logged in. So how do we write a camel case variable? So we keep the first word in lowercase and then the rest of the words capitalized. So we have let is logged in with the L being capital and the I being capital. Let's look at data types. In JavaScript, we have 7 primitive data types. So we have the string, which are basically text values. We have number, we have big int for larger numbers. We have the boolean, which is for true and false, mostly used in logic. We have symbol, that is used for unique identifier when it comes to objects. And we have the undefined data type and null data type. So let's start with the string data type. The string data type stores text values. So here, there are 3 ways we can create strings. The first part being double quotes, the second part being single quotes, and the third one being backticks. Let's move on to template strings. We can use the backtick to create template strings. Template strings allows you to embed variables directly in the console message. So let's look at an example. We are going to create a new variable called message. So I can type let message equals JavaScript, and now we type message 2 is equal to let us learn. So how do we create template string? So we use the backtick and $sign and curly brackets. So now let's display the content of message 2 in the console terminal. You could see that the message 1 string, which was JavaScript, was successfully embedded inside the message 2 content, which is let us learn JavaScript. The number data type is used to store all kinds of numbers in JavaScript. So this could be integers, decimals, and exponential. So over here we have these different values which are under number data type. So we have 1, 1.5, and 1.4 exponents 15. So these are all classified as number data type. This is used for numbers which are above the number limit. So very huge numbers. So over here, anytime you want to use integers or exponentials in which the number data types cannot handle, we use the big data type. So for example, we have let big NR equal to this number right here. So notice the n suffix. So this is for a very large number. There is a rule that we cannot mix normal integer with big integer. The only way this would work is for us to convert one of the data types into the other so that we can perform any operation on them. From this example, we have to convert the integer nr into a big int data type so that we could add it to the big nr variable. Let's continue with the Boolean data types. The Boolean data types has only 2 values, which is true and false. The Boolean data type is also essential for conditional logics. So from the example, we have let bool 1 equals false and let bool 2 equals true. We can also take a look at some real world examples, such as object is deleted, which could be true or false. Light is on, which could be true or false. Is logged in, which could also be true or false. And has permission, which could also be true or false.